Okay, this video we're going to show you how to create a local agent. Now the local agent is essentially just an MSI package that gets deployed out to the workstations. Once it sits on a workstation, it captures printing activity. As soon as the user hits print, it reports that we capture the information and report that information back to the server here through web services, and it writes that transaction into the MySQL database. Why a local agent? Well, local agent, it says what it does what it says on the tin. It essentially just sits there. If you've got customers with local USB connected printers, you can deploy the agent out just to those workstations. We also can deploy the local agent will also capture anything that's printed from like a direct IP or a UNC path or something like that. So in other words, if you're in an environment where you have certain managed queues to particular devices, but you want the customer wants the entire printing environment captured, and there is some direct print that's going on, which is obviously going to bypass our managed queues, but they want that information. They want to find out who's printing. That's another reason why you'd put the local agent on there. So there's a couple of things we need to do on the server first. Here you can see the server. We need to actually go into servers. And once we're there, we want to make sure it's enabled. We can give it a name. Type yourself, that's fine, you don't need to worry about that. What you do need to worry about is the IP address. So let's give it, it's got to be the IP address of this actual server itself. So we just make sure it's the correct IP address, update the server, click OK, and it changes up there. Don't worry about the port either, that's fine. Then we just need to go back into manage server, and we need to make sure that the ROI local agent service is running. And if it's not, you need to click on the enable button, and here it should come up as running, and it will tell you what port it's using. So essentially it's using a HTTP port, and it's using that port in its URL to report back to the server. Okay, so once we've done that, we need to go and actually create the MSI. It's really simple. We need to go and find the agent packager. The agent packager is just a utility that creates the MSI, and it actually sits in the root directory of our application directory. So here it is, and there's the agent packager. We just right click that, we'll run it as administrator. Once that comes up, I mean, you don't need to change any of this, any of these settings. These are all default settings, and you shouldn't need to change anything. So we just go next. Here it automatically picks up your domain, and it automatically picks up your workstation. What you can do, if you want to change the domain, obviously change it, but it will just pick it up from the environment variable on the server itself. Here we can change the IP address to 103. Instead of the server name, because I'm in a work group, it'll work better if I'm using the IP address. And even in some certain situations in an environment, you know, the IT might say, hey, use the IP address instead of fully qualified domain name. What we do here is the reason why we're entering this information in here is because what will happen is when you create the MSI, when you click on finish and the MSI gets generated, we're basically taking this IP address and a domain name and we're appending it to a URL. So the server, so the workstation or the agent, when it gets deployed out onto the workstation, it knows who to report back to, what port to use, and which URL, basically. So which server, which port, and which URL to report back to. We're going to click next. Always leave it a local system account, it's always best. And we're going to save it, and it automatically gets saved to desktop, and we'll just call it test test ROI agent.msi. We'll click on finish. Okay, just giving you a rundown of what it's done. Click OK to that. We close this. We close this. I'll minimize that, and there is my MSI. Now, once all we normally do then is hand it off to the IT department. The IT department then take that MSI, they use whatever third-party deployment software tool that they're familiar with, and they deploy it out to their workstations. The workstations are going to require a reboot. Once the workstation is rebooted, the agent will start, and from that point on, the agent will start collecting information. So if we now go back into here and we go under reporting, you'll see a local agents option. We click on that, and here you will see, so every agent after a reboot that reports back to the server, you'll see the workstation name appear here and a domain, and you'll see if it's active, which basically means is it reporting back okay, and is it enabled? In other words, is it enabled to collect data? And here again, you will see some information. Last report time, well, that's the last time the agent actually checked in to the server, either just checked in because periodically it will check in just to make sure that the server is still there and the comms are up, or the last time it actually uploaded any print data information from that user that's logged into that workstation. So you can disable it, and you can say, hey, it's not active as well. Either way, it will stop collecting information. So once that's done and the workstation is rebooted, user logs in for the very first time, the agent starts up under that user's profile, and then the user prints. What you'll see is under printing and MFDs, you'll see what the user printed from. Okay, now these are obviously disabled by default. You don't need to enable these. These are just placeholders for reporting purposes only. So here you'll see that is a managed queue, which is the RICO, and then these ones, you'll see that these are basically printers that a user has printed from. This is actually a local printer. It's showing you the computer name that it was printed from, and then the printer name, and then these are obviously other ones. This is from a different computer, and you'll see that this was a direct IP based as opposed to a local printer or a UNC shared printer. Like I said, they're disabled by default because, again, they're just placeholders for reporting purposes only. What we can do is they will also show up under live usage here as well. So here you can see under live usage, anything with a backslash or with a username with auto next to it means it's been auto generated by the local agent, and you can quickly see here, well, which ones are the managed queues and which ones are the local agents that are reporting in. You can go to run or schedule a report, and you can do a detailed local print activity by user, and you can run a report where it will show you only local agent reporting. Now, whether that local agent is reporting a IP address, so a direct IP based print job from a workstation, or whether it's printing from a UNC to a print server, so // server name, or whether it's local. That will show you all three. So basically anything that's printed that has not come from one of our managed queues. So either a network managed queue, so a dummy printer, something that we don't support, but we're tracking the printing, or a managed MFP where we've actually locked the device down and we're capturing everything and it's secure print and everything else. So that's how you create a local agent, and that's some of the reasons why you'd want to use a local agent. And of course, don't forget, all of this information goes back into FM Audit Central as well. So if you use FM Audit Central, all of this information goes back into that. There'll be another video around somewhere that will show you how to configure your on-site to come and collect the information from from the server as far as user level data is concerned. But as far as a local agent, that's all you need to know about. Thanks.